Hi and welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to talk about sign numbers, so adding, subtracting positive and negative numbers, multiplying, dividing positive and negative numbers, and working with the order of operations. So we're going to just jump right in here. Most students seem to be very familiar with this topic. If you're not, practice, see your teacher, get extra help, but for the most part people are familiar with this. So here we just have regular addition. 2 plus 6 is 8. Negative 2 plus negative 6, since they're both negative, the answer is going to be negative, and it's going to be negative 8. Here we have a positive and a negative. There's two ways to consider that. We can just add them. The biggest is negative, so it's going to be negative. It's going to be 4. Or a positive and a negative you can think about as 2 minus 6, which is also minus 4. So this one you can think about two ways. Negative 3 plus 6, well, 6 is bigger, so the sign is positive. It's positive 3. If you're not following along, there's the rules up here of what we're doing, so you can read through that. Otherwise, you can also practice a little with your calculator, and I just want to point out to you, make sure you realize that the negative sign in your calculator is this one down here, and the subtraction sign is this one here, because your calculator treats them differently. So let's do the next one on the calculator. We have 4 plus negative 8, and we'll put that in brackets, minus 2 minus negative 6. So even though these minuses look the same, they are different on the calculator. Close that bracket, hit enter, and the answer is 0. So we'll go back to our page here and say that one's 0. So the next one then, 8 plus negative 4, well, that's the same as 8 minus 4, or 4. A minus and a minus sign together, that makes a plus, which we'll see now in a second, if you don't remember. And that then gives us negative 3. So hopefully those, you can do that quickly. If not, there's lots of practice in your book, and myself or any of your teachers would be more than happy to explain a little more detail. For the multiplication and division, if the symbols are the same, plus and plus, the answer is plus. If they're minus and minus, the answer is plus. So same symbol gives positive. Different symbol gives negative. And that's an easy way to remember that. And that's true for multiplication and division. So negative 3 times negative 4 is going to give positive 12. Negative with positive is negative 18. And we'll just continue the rest of these. You should get minus 8, 20. In this one, we have a division and a multiplication, so we're going to do the denominator first. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. And divide them to get positive, minus with minus. Feel free to pause the video at any point to practice these. That's what you should be doing here. When we get to the examples, I'm just going to do them so you have the solutions, but you should pause the video, do the answers yourself, make sure you're getting them right. The next topic that we're going to look at is order of operations. And again, a topic that you're most likely familiar with, so we'll go a little quickly. The order of operations tells us that we always do brackets first, then we do exponents. Then we do division or multiplication in the order that they appear from left to right. That's a very important point. Just because the division is here written before the multiplication doesn't mean you automatically do it first. When we're looking at division and multiplication, we do them at the same time from left to right. And the same applies for addition and subtraction. So these are really equal in importance, and you just do from left to right. So if we start to work on then example 3, we see that we have 7 plus negative 3, well that's the same as 4, and then we subtract 6 to get negative 2. From left to right, the addition and then the subtraction. This one we have a division, so we're going to do that first, and that gives us negative 3, positive divided by a negative, plus 5, minus and minus give plus 2. So that's actually another multiplication that we did there. Put these all together, we get negative 3 plus 5 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. Moving to C then, nothing between the 3 and the bracket means multiplication. We do have brackets, so brackets are first. So we're going to get 2 plus 3 times 6, which is 2 plus 18, which gives us 20 in total. For that one, maybe we'll look at our calculator. And our calculator can do the order of operations quite nicely, so we can just put in 2 plus 3 bracket 2 plus 4, just as it's written. And the calculator also gives us an answer of 20. So, great way to check. At this point, if you haven't already paused it and done all these, I would stop the video, do the rest of these solutions, make sure you get them right. It is important to be able to show the steps, so make sure you're doing the workings as well. So we go ahead now to do D. That gives us 3 squared minus 6 plus 2 times 5, bracket first. Now exponent, 9 minus 6 plus 2 times 5. And we'll move up here. 9 minus 6 stays, because next comes multiplication, so that gives us 2 times 5 is 10. Now we can do the subtraction, which is 3 plus 10, which is 13. So this is a perfect example of what we wrote up here, that these are equal in importance. We go from left to right. So in this case, the subtraction came before the addition. So don't get hung up on the addition has to come first. So continuing then, the answer for this one gives us 4 minus 3 times negative 2 squared plus 6. And maybe we'll do a couple of steps in our head here. 3 times negative 2 squared, that's 4, times 3 is 12, plus 6. So 4 minus 12 is negative 8, plus 6 is negative 2. We should recognize this symbol here. We did that the lesson before. That's absolute value. So whatever the answer inside that is, this symbol tells us it has to be positive. So we'll go ahead and work that one out. We can do the multiplication first. We can actually do the division at the same time. They don't impact each other, so that's absolute value of 4. This is like brackets, so really that's technically the first step. 3 minus 12 plus the absolute value of 4 is just 4. We stick that all together then. 3 minus 12 is negative 9, plus 4 is negative 5. Last one then. When you have a division like this, something that's a very good idea is to put the numerator or the top in brackets and put the bottom in brackets. It reminds you that that means you have to work out everything on top first and everything on bottom first before you divide. Also, if you're putting it on your calculator, these brackets are essential to get the right answer. So we work out the top, we're going to get negative 14 minus negative 8, 2 times negative 7, 4 times negative 2. And on the bottom we get negative 9 minus minus means plus, so negative 9 plus 9 is 0. As soon as we get that 0 there, if you try that on your calculator you get an error because we can say that is undefined, because we cannot divide by 0. And that undefined will lead us to the final part of this lesson, which is just highlighting the operations with 0. The last one there is actually what we just ran into. We're not allowed to divide by 0. The one just above that is if the 0 is in the numerator, so dividing into 0. Well, if you do that, the answer is always 0. Multiply by 0, answer 0. Subtract 0, well, the a, so a minus 0, doesn't change. And same thing if we add 0. It's unchanged. So adding and subtracting 0 doesn't change our number. Multiplying by 0 gives 0. Dividing into 0 gives 0. Dividing by 0 is undefined. So in our next video then we'll pick up with exponential expressions and see how much of that you remember. Make sure you do practice. Thanks for watching.